What's up, everyone? My name's Clay, and you're watching What's Clay Cooking. On today's episode, we're going to be cooking the poor man's ribeye, or in other words, the chuck eye steak. Now, why am I cooking the chuck eye steak? What a great question. I'm glad you asked. I'm cooking it because one, I'm poor and can't afford anything else, and two, they're f***ing delicious. What is a chuck eye? Man, you guys are on fire with the questions today. Just keep them rolling. Anyways, let's break it down and I'll show you what it is. This is the chuck shoulder roast. The chuck roast comes from the upper shoulder of the cow. The chuck eyes are typically the first two cuts from a chuck roast, as seen here. These are your chuck eyes. After a bit of trimming, they will begin to take shape. They are compared to the ribeye because they are rich with marbling and flavor, but literally a fraction of the price. Okay, so there's a few ways that you can cook this. My favorite, personally, is the frying pan. Now, the list of items that you will need are right here. First on our list, of course, is going to be the chuck eyes. Next, you're going to want some olive oil, then your seasoning. Can't forget the seasoning. Butter, some garlic, some fresh rosemary, and that's about it. It's a pretty simple recipe. Okay, before you start sticking your grimy little fingers all over these puppies, we need to let them rise to room temperature first, and that could take a minute. So let's go ahead and time lapse this because I'm impatient. Now that we have these to room temperature, it's time to season them. Now whenever I choose a seasoning, I always get one that has nice big grains in it. You could go as simple as salt and pepper, or you can get more complex like I like to do. This one, for instance, has dehydrated garlic, dehydrated red bell peppers, black pepper, sea salt, all sorts of different kind of things. But just make sure that it has nice big grains in it, so that way it could really soak up the flavor in the meat. As we season them, you want to make sure to be very generous with the amount you're putting on it. After you get it on one side, go ahead and press it in nice and firm. Then we flip, do the same thing to the other side. Don't forget your sides. Don't be stingy about it. Now that we've seasoned those up, it's time to start heating things up. No, I don't know where I was going with that. Anyways, set your oven to about just a touch above medium-high heat, about right there. Go ahead and add your olive oil in. We want to get the olive oil to a nice hot heat before we start cooking in it. Okay, we got our oil nice and hot, as you can see. Now it's time to go ahead and add our chuck eyes. Now don't forget, it's really important to use the olive oil because it keeps it from actually burning the meat. Now don't walk away from this because this stuff is going to cook faster than my pale skin on a hot summer day. It's important to keep it constantly rotating. After about the second or third flip, that's when you want to go ahead and add your garlic and your rosemary. Now your garlic, don't even bother peeling it. Just crush it. So just crush it open. Throw it right in. Okay. Go ahead and flip it again. Now, throw in your rosemary. I just peel it right off of the stalk. Let's go ahead and add our butter. Flip. Now, what you're gonna do is use your spoon to get up all this liquid. You're basically going to just baste the steaks in it. That's where all your flavor is going to come from. Flip. Do the same thing to the other side. Gather that liquid with your spoon. Now it's pretty much just the waiting game at this point. You can basically cook the steak to your required temperature that you prefer the most. The way I test it is using the old hand trick. Right here is going to be your rare steaks. Your medium rare, your medium, which is what I prefer. Medium well, and then you're well done. Like I said, you don't even need to peel because the peel just comes right off in the cooking process and you could just throw it right out. Go ahead and flip. Alright, they're about perfect. Okay, so now our next step is probably the most important step of all, and that is to let the steaks rest. In other words, do not touch them for at least 5 to 10 minutes. Seriously, just don't. It'll keep all the vital juices intact. It'll also help when you actually cut the steak, you won't lose any of those flavors. So just don't touch them, please. Now to have a final look at our finished product. Well guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did and you want to see more, please like and subscribe to my channel. Anyways, I'm starving and I'm gonna go eat what I just cooked. So you guys have a good night.